I just loved seeing Arsenal play. They had big players, the way they play, the style. I just love the club.
In football, there are players who fight for moments, and then there are those who fight for the right to belong again. 2 years ago, Jurriën Timber stood on the Emirates pitch with tears in his eyes. His Premier League dream had lasted less than 90 minutes. A cruel twist of fate, a torn ligament, and 1,000 questions about what could have been. For most players, that kind of story ends quietly. Another talent lost to the shadows of injury. But for Timber, it was only the beginning. Fast forward to the 2025-26 season, and Arsenal are rewriting history. 25 points clear, the top of the Premier League, unbeaten at home, playing football that feels less like a system and more like a symphony. And in the heart of that rhythm, between the build-ups, the interceptions, and the balance that holds everything together, stands one man, Jurriën Timber. He isn't the loudest, he isn't the flashiest, but when Arsenal play, he is the pulse that keeps the structure alive. A fullback who defends like a center half, builds like a midfielder, and reads the game like a coach. To understand how Arsenal reached this level, you have to understand the player who became the definition of control. And to understand Timber, you have to go back long before London, long before the Emirates, back to Utrecht, where the story really begins. Jurriën David Norman Timber was born on June 17, 2001 in Utrecht, Netherlands, one of 6 brothers raised by their mother, Marilyn. Life wasn't easy. The Timber family had to make their way without a father figure, and Marilyn worked tirelessly to provide stability. She taught her sons 3 things: respect, discipline, and faith. The twins, Jurriën and Quinten, took those lessons into everything they did, especially football. The backstreets of Utrecht became their first training ground. Every wall was a teammate, every bounce a test of touch. They weren't the biggest kids, but they were sharp, reading space before others even saw it. It's where Timber's anticipation was born, that split-second instinct that makes him seem a step ahead of everyone else today. He joined local club DVSU before moving to Feyenoord's youth system, his first taste of professional football education. But in 2014, at just 13, Ajax came calling. For many Dutch players, that call changes everything. Ajax Academy doesn't just produce footballers, it crafts thinkers. It's where positional play is not just taught but lived, where intelligence is as valued as strength. For Timber, that environment was perfect. He wasn't the tallest or the strongest, but he was the most composed. His coaches noticed how he could carry the ball through pressing traps, how he never panicked under pressure, how he could switch from defending one-on-one to building an attack in the same sequence. Ajax made him more than a defender. They made him a decision maker. By 2020, Timber had made his senior debut for Ajax. Within 2 seasons, he'd won the Eredivisie twice and been named the league's Player of the Year. But more importantly, he'd developed an identity. The new archetype of a Dutch defender, compact, composed, and tactical. He wasn't just breaking up play, he was dictating it. Legends like Marco van Basten and Virgil van Dijk praised his maturity. He looked like someone who'd been playing top-level football for a decade. Every performance showed the same pattern: control, calmness, courage. But success in Amsterdam was never going to be the end. Timber had his eyes on something bigger, a stage where every mistake was magnified and every pass mattered, the Premier League. And in the summer of 2023, Arsenal called. When Mikel Arteta convinced Timber to join for £34 million, it wasn't just another signing. It was a statement. Arteta wanted footballers who could think, not just run, players who could step inside midfield, who could help Arsenal build control through intelligence, not chaos. And Timber fit that blueprint perfectly. His debut against Nottingham Forest in August 2023 felt like the start of something special. The composure, the tempo control, the press resistance, it all looked effortless. But fate had a cruel script. Just 49 minutes into his Premier League career, Timber collapsed to the turf, an ACL tear. The silence in the Emirates said everything. A new signing, gone before he could even begin. Months of rehab followed. No spotlight, no applause, just pain and repetition. But every day, Timber came back stronger. He studied, he learned, he adapted. He watched how Arteta's system evolved with Ben White, Tomiyasu, and Zinchenko. And when he finally returned in May 2024, he wasn't just fit, he was ready. By the start of the 2025-26 campaign, Arsenal looked different. Declan Rice had settled as the anchor. Odegaard was conducting everything, and Timber, finally free of injuries, took over the right side of the pitch. But he didn't just return, he redefined the role. He wasn't a traditional right-back anymore. He became an inverted fullback, stepping into midfield, forming triangles with Rice and Odegaard, and giving Arsenal a constant outlet through the right half space. The same intelligence that made him special at Ajax now made him irreplaceable in North London. Game after game, Arsenal's opponents tried to press high, and game after game, Timber broke their structure with a simple touch, a sharp pass, or a perfectly timed tackle. He didn't need to be loud. His game spoke volumes. Now in February 2026, Arsenal lead the league by 25 points clear. Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham, all chasing shadows. And the tactical glue holding it all together is the Dutch defender who refused to give up on his dream. But what exactly makes Jurriën Timber so vital? What turns a 5'10" defender from Utrecht into the cornerstone of the best team in England? To understand that, we have to look deeper, beyond the story, into the system. When you watch Arsenal in the 2025-26 season, you realize they don't just dominate games, they suffocate them. They don't win through chaos, they win through control. Every pass has purpose, every press has coordination, and every movement feels rehearsed. But underneath that calm surface, there is one player who quietly dictates the rhythm without demanding the spotlight, and that player is Jurriën Timber. In Mikel Arteta's system, he has become more than a right back. He has become the stabilizer, the bridge between defense and midfield, and the architect of Arsenal's balance. He is the player who gives structure its soul. When Arsenal build from the back, Timber drifts inside from his right-back position, stepping next to Declan Rice to form a two-man pivot in midfield. That single movement transforms the shape from a defensive 4 into a 3-2 build-up and immediately gives Arsenal control of the center. The moment he steps inside, the opposition is forced to make a decision: press him and open space behind, or hold their line and let Arsenal pass them to death. Most teams choose the latter, and Timber makes them pay for it. His intelligence in that role is extraordinary. He reads space like a midfielder, never blocking a passing lane, always complementing the movements of Odegaard and Saka. It's positional play at its purest form, a living diagram of structure and balance. What separates Timber from most modern defenders is his calmness under pressure. When opponents press high, he never panics. He invites the pressure, manipulates it, and releases the ball at the exact right moment. Sometimes it's a subtle turn, sometimes a delayed pass that draws two players toward him before he finds the open man. That composure allows Arsenal to lure opponents out of position and slice through them. His press resistance is elite, a direct inheritance from the Ajax academy, where players are taught to think 2 steps ahead before they even receive the ball. His passing accuracy sits above 93%, one of the best in the league. But that number only hints at his influence, because most of those passes are forward, line-breaking, and purposeful. They turn defense into control and pressure into opportunity. Defensively, Timber's timing is immaculate. He isn't the biggest player on the pitch, but he understands the geometry of defending better than most. He knows when to wait, when to pounce, and how to use his body to control the duel. His tackling is clean, his stance compact, his anticipation world-class. He's not a defender who relies on last-ditch sliding tackles. He stops attacks before they begin. His body position forces wingers into less dangerous areas. His awareness tracks runners that most players would miss. And his recovery pace closes gaps before they become threats. Even in the air, where he was once considered vulnerable, he has evolved. His leap is perfectly timed, his positioning flawless. He doesn't win every header through height. He wins it through timing and bravery. When Timber has the ball, he doesn't just look for the safe option. He progresses the play, carrying the ball through midfield lines with confidence. At times, he looks more like a deep-lying midfielder than a defender. His ability to dribble through pressure gives Arsenal a unique escape valve. Instead of clearing under pressure, he turns, drives diagonally into open space, and opens passing angles that never existed a second earlier. Every carry breaks a line. Every touch has intention. He averages over 5 progressive carries per game, numbers more typical of creative midfielders than fullbacks, and that allows Arsenal to maintain fluidity even when opponents try to press them aggressively. On the right side of Arsenal's system, Timber forms what fans call the triangle: himself, Martin Odegaard, and Bukayo Saka. That connection has become one of the deadliest in Europe. Each of the 3 moves with the awareness of the other 2. When Odegaard drifts wide, Timber steps inside to stabilize the shape. When Saka cuts into the box, Timber overlaps or underlaps, depending on the space available, forcing opposing fullbacks to constantly guess. The rotation is seamless, the understanding instinctive. Timber doesn't need to be on the ball to influence play. His positioning alone opens the pitch. His discipline gives others freedom. Saka can attack with less defensive burden, Odegaard can experiment creatively, and Rice can stay anchored knowing Timber will cover space intelligently if possession is lost. Comparisons have been made to John Stones, who pioneered the hybrid defender role at Manchester City. But Timber adds his own layer of sharpness and mobility. He's faster, more agile, and more daring on the ball. Compared to Kyle Walker, he reads the game with more subtlety, and compared to Zinchenko, he defends with greater strength. Timber is the balance between them. The control of Stones, the pace of Walker, and the composure of Zinchenko all merged into one. What makes him even more unique is that he doesn't need to dominate the ball to dominate the game. His decision-making, his scanning, and his silent adjustments in space do the work long before the opponent realizes it. Arsenal's success this season is built on adaptability. In some matches, they build with 3 defenders and 2 midfielders. In others, they form a back 4, with Timber tucking into the middle. The structure changes constantly, but Timber's presence allows it to happen seamlessly. He gives Arteta tactical flexibility without substitutions. One moment, he's a fullback supporting wide play. The next, he's inside dictating rhythm. And then he's defending the counter as a center back. That tactical intelligence is why Arsenal are 22 points clear at the top. They don't simply overpower teams, they outthink them. And Timber, with his quiet composure and technical precision, embodies that philosophy. The statistics only reinforce what the eyes already see. His tackles and interceptions average nearly 3 per match, and he completes over 5 progressive carries per game. He contributes almost 2 key passes every 90 minutes, showing that his creativity isn't just defensive, it's integral to Arsenal's attacks. He's dribbled past less than once every 2 full games, proof of his one-on-one mastery. Even his expected assists per 90 minutes show a player comfortable creating chances from deep positions. These are not numbers of a typical defender. They're the numbers of a controller, someone who dictates flow and rhythm across the pitch. What's more fascinating is how Arsenal's right side is transformed under his influence. 2 years ago, their attack was predictable. Feed the ball to Saka and hope for individual brilliance. Now it's multi-layered, unpredictable, and tactical. With Timber stepping inside, Odegaard rotating, and Saka drifting into the box, opponents can't decide who to mark. If they press the right flank, Timber finds the switch to Martinelli or Rice in an instant. If they drop off, Arsenal suffocate them through short passing triangles until the space opens. Timber is at the center of it all, orchestrating with patience and precision. He isn't the loudest leader in this team, but he is one of its most important. His football intelligence gives Arsenal their control. His calmness gives them security. And his consistency gives them belief. Every touch he takes, every defensive read he makes, every small movement to close a lane or open a passing option, it all adds up to a player who doesn't just play the system, he perfects it. And in doing so, Jurriën Timber has become not just Arsenal's right back, but their rhythm, their structure, and their quiet heartbeat in a season that already feels historic. They said he was too small to play center back, too quiet to lead, too unlucky to make it in England. But Jurriën Timber didn't need to shout to be heard. He let his football speak for him. Every interception, every pass, every calm touch under pressure became a message. Control is not about noise. It's about trust. From the streets of Utrecht to the heart of the Emirates, Timber's journey has never been about proving people wrong. It's been about proving himself right. He fell, he broke, and he rebuilt. And now, in a season where Arsenal are rewriting what dominance looks like, he stands not as a survivor of injury, but as a symbol of resilience. When you watch Arsenal this season, look closely. Beyond the goals, beyond the celebrations, beyond the noise, there's Timber. The calm in the chaos, the order in the storm, the player who turned recovery into revival and potential into presence. He is not just defending a title, he's defining an era. This is Jurriën Timber, Arsenal's quiet heartbeat, their tactical soul, and one of the finest defenders in world football today. If you enjoyed this story and want more in-depth football documentaries like this one, make sure to subscribe to Football Central, where every week we break down the players, the tactics, and the stories that make this game beautiful. Because here, football isn't just watched, it's understood.